Thank you for joining us, everyone. A sharp escalation in tensions between the U.S., Israel, and Iran is sending shockwaves through global energy markets, pushing oil prices higher and raising fresh concerns for shipping routes and supply chains worldwide. For Nigeria, Africa's largest oil producer, the developments present a mixed picture. On one hand, higher global oil prices could boost government revenues and foreign exchange earnings. But on the other, the surge could drive up the cost of refined fuel imports, increase shipping and insurance costs, and potentially push petrol prices even higher for Nigerians. With the country still heavily reliant on imported refined petroleum products and global shipping routes, the ripple effect of this conflict could be felt far beyond the Middle East, reaching directly into Nigeria's economy, energy markets, and cost of living. So tonight, we'll take a closer look at what the escalating U.S.-Israel-Iran tensions mean for global oil markets and what it could mean here at home. Our oil and gas expert, Dankule, joins me tonight all the way from the United Arab Emirates for this conversation. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you very much, Olajumoke, for inviting me and reaching out to me here.
All right.
It's unfortunate that finally this day has crystallized. Today, Monday, we have seen how the market has reacted from all over the world, which means that the global village is under a big energy threat. And this makes me to feel also that Nigeria, over again, we are very vulnerable, very vulnerable. Our energy security is threatened because the entire energy disequilibrium of the world is staring at all of us now. And this is just 30% of the production and supply capacity of the Middle East to the global market that is under threat. And yet you can see how the market globally has reacted. So America, even that have internal capacity to produce, the price has gone up. So it's unfortunate that Nigeria is going to have a big collateral damage and not collateral advantage in this situation. It's unfortunate. So I hope we'll be able to adjust rapidly to stabilize ourselves in the near future, not immediate. This immediate, we are all going to suffer. This immediate short-term view. So that's my opening paragraph.
We'll come back to Nigeria in a moment, Mr. Dankule, and the impact this would have in the coming weeks. But for context, Brent and WTI crude prices have hit highest levels since 2022 due to supply fears and Strait of Hormuz disruptions. You just told us about how serious the situation is for global energy markets. But a lot of analysts are pointing to the Strait of Hormuz. Around 20% of global oil trade passes through that route. Meaning disruptions there can trigger major price spikes and supply shocks. Why is this narrow waterway so critical to the global oil market? And from your perspective, roughly how much of the world's oil actually passes through this route?
Yes, the Strait of Hormuz. You see, this is geography. This is geography. The strategic location of Iran and the Middle East, if you see the structure of the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, then the Arabian Sea, like that, into the Indian Ocean. Then if you cross from the Yemen, you enter into the Red Sea. These corridors are very strategic to the Suez Canal. Is not man-made. These were structures that were geologically formed. So we made use of what was convenient for us because that is human nature. So that channel is the channel that is convenient for us to move goods, passengers, and to trade. So all the production from Qatar, from Bahrain, from part of Saudi Arabia, from Kuwait, and from Iran themselves and Iraq has to pass through that corridor. All the vessels have to pass through that corridor, whether carrying crude or LNG or food or pharmaceutical, anything, they have to pass through that corridor. So Saudi Arabia have succeeded in building pipeline across the desert, but what volume can go through there cannot be compared to what the vessels can take per day. The same thing, UAE have a pipe across to Oman, but also what volume can you move per day? You cannot compare it to when a vessel just berth and load. So the strategic importance of Strait of Hormuz is that it is a corridor, it's like a funnel that the world need to be at peace every time, as long as the hydrocarbon production from the Middle East has to go to the market.
All right.
You said what is the volume? The volume averaging 18 to 20 million barrels. Okay. And you put it at 20%. With the LNG volumes, is between 25 and 30% of the global hydrocarbon liquids that goes through that place every day. So India, the entire Asian market, they are in trouble. So this disequilibrium, to balance it out, is a problem because the geographical location of Europe does not produce much oil anymore. And you go to Russia. Russia, by location, to ship anything out of Russia, you have to again go to the Baltic Sea. So the whole thing is not just at equilibrium. We are just in a total mess. But I hope we can find our way in Nigeria. I'm more interested in how Nigeria can, to a certain extent, insulate the domestic economy from the inflation that this thing is going to trigger. This crisis is going to trigger big inflation in every ramifications.
We'll come back home in a moment, Mr. Dakunde, but quickly, how significant is this disruption compared to past episodes? I'm talking about previous Gulf Wars, Red Sea crisis. Are there lessons shipping companies have applied from those earlier disruptions?
Yes, you see, the shipping companies are open to this hazard every time. The same thing like aviation industry, because the soaring, the cost, the capital cost for you to own a vessel that carries about 1 million barrel of oil, you know, that vessel may be costing you about $200 million to build. So the insurance premium on all these vessels are very, very high. And you know, these vessels are specialized vessels. So you cannot, they are very difficult to convert for other uses. So once a situation like this comes, everybody's situation becomes sterile. There's nothing you can do. So if the insurance does not cover you, you cannot allow such vessel to be on. It's like aircraft not having insurance. How can you put it in the air? If a vessel carrying 1 million barrel of oil or 2 million barrel does not have insurance, it has to have a safe place and berth. So for these reasons, the insurance is an issue. It's not really the vessel or the route that is the problem. It's the insurance cover. So I think the lesson is that the global economic environment must still find a way to work towards a harmonious relationship because we are interdependent. Nobody is an island on its own. We are really, really interdependent. So it's difficult, but we will continue to have friction because we are human beings, but we should learn to maybe manage it carefully so that the ramifications and the unintended consequences can be minimized. You know, this is just the situation, but we cannot avoid this as of today. We have to live with this as of today.
All right. Let's come back home, Mr. Kunle. Nigeria, I mean, this is a country that is considered a major crude exporter. On the surface, higher crude prices could boost our revenues. And at first glance, higher oil prices seem like good news to anybody listening. Is it really that simple? And what are the real opportunities here? Can the government capture this windfall effectively?
Unfortunately, there is not any windfall here. This is maybe wind failure, unfortunately for us. When some of us industry observers and commentators, we have been screaming over the years about the lack of capacity in Nigeria to ramp up production of crude oil. Today you are doing 1.5, 1.6 million barrels. Nobody is even certain of how much we are doing. So where is the windfall? If the Atlantic Basin, if you want to move products out of Nigeria today, that is crude or LNG, what volume can you move to meet the market shortfall in Asia today? What volume? It's so small. So even if the price goes to $150, which may happen, what is the volume we are going to benefit when you have not even been able to give enough volume to the domestic refinery that is functional, that is Dangote Refinery, since government owned are all dead. So there's not any windfall. I can't see any windfall. LNG in Bonny is not doing full capacity. So, and today Qatar is done. Qatar has capacity of about 7 million tons per year, just say 80 million with LNG, with even UAE. So see the shortfall of liquid gas that is in the marketplace. Nigeria will have moved in to take advantage, but the capacity is not there. This is what we have been screaming about. That is why some of us felt so bad. We are even ashamed, some of us were ashamed. Today, you have no enough crude to give to Dangote to refine. Out of the 1.6 million barrel, you can't give him even 300,000. You are giving him less than 100,000. So there is no any windfall.
So does this crisis, does this crisis highlight why?
We have wind failure. Yeah.
So does it also highlight why countries need stronger energy security strategies?
Exactly. We need energy security, but you cannot attain energy security in a day. This energy security we are talking about, let me explain it. It's not just petrol. You know, Nigeria, we only think about petrol. You need cooking gas, you need electricity, you need diesel, you need engine oil, you need grease, you need paraffin wax. Everything that moves, that power anything, is energy. So as it is today, where is our strategy to attain energy security in Nigeria? President Tinubu has a lot of opportunity to balance this account, because recently he did something that has impressed me very well on OPL 245. We will talk about it later. But as it is today, for refining capacity is zero. But we are lucky that private refinery came to fill that gap with a capacity of about 700,000 barrels per day. But the harmony I expected between Dangote Refinery owner and government, I still have not seen it. How can you allow your crude to go out of your country? As this situation is today now, I expect President Tinubu to ask the regulator, midstream, downstream regulator, to declare emergency, energy crisis emergency. Because how are you going to say, okay, you are still selling your crude to people who have bought the crude 2, 3, 4 years in advance, 10 years in advance? When you have a crisis like this in your hand, you will call them on table and say, look, force majeure, I cannot give you my crude at this price anymore. Let us rearrange, reconfigure, because I have to give crude to the refinery that is functional here. Maybe cap the price, work it out between you and the refinery owner, that what will be the refining cost, but I will give you even 400,000 barrels per day. But if we want to eat our cake and still have it, which is the game the country is playing, it never happens. It's unnatural. So I'm sorry, this is just the truth. But I believe President Tinubu is a listening president, and I believe he will have to dynamically address this issue between now and Wednesday. It's very important, because we don't know how long this problem is going to continue.
But also, Mr. Dankule, what is the biggest misconception the public has about rising oil prices and Nigeria's economy? But I'll allow you to answer that question when we return from this break. And when we return, it's important to say this conversation continues on our other platforms. Please stay with us, everyone.
Gafili Gadoki, the land is there, the place is an open place now. Let them go ahead. Let them go ahead. So, but let us talk serious. Even if you want to fix government refinery today, look at Oladimoke, let me tell you something. I'm aware they want to fix Porako refinery with maybe Sinopec. We, Nigeria, NNPC drove away Sinopec from Nigeria. Sinopec acquired ADAX upstream. And in the last 10 years, Sinopec was driven away from Nigeria. So why are you going to Sinopec now to come back to come and fix Porako refinery for you? Sinopec bought this second bitumen block in Ondo in 2006, 2007. The signature bonus was $20 million. The bitumen deposit in Ondo, block, I think block A or block B. And President Yaradua came and revoked it. They refunded their money to them. So I'm aware some people now are going to Sinopec to say, come and fix refinery for us. The same Sinopec that you drove away from Nigeria. So anybody that is going near government to say they can build refinery or they can do this, they can do that, please don't let us be paying attention to them. It's a distraction. We have suffered this distraction since 2007 to date. Enough is enough. Let's face the reality on ground. Let President Tinubu, this is what I've been saying, let him own up once and for all and say, look what he just did with 245. Look at the merry run we did with 245. Look at how mediocrity, for 8 years, Baba Buhari could not solve the problem of 245. President Tinubu just addressed it now. The same way President Tinubu should address the issue of refinery in Nigeria. Cut off this cancer so that people can face other direction. Look, we have not, President Tinubu should de-risk agriculture so that people can shift their attention to agriculture and produce food to feed the country.
All right.
Everybody is talking refinery every day. Fix refinery. Which refinery? Those refineries are technically dead. They are dead. They should go to the scrap yard. So anybody who wants to build refineries should go ahead and build refinery. Let's see how easy it is. So don't let us dwell too much on all these issues.
You didn't answer the second part of Mr. Danko. You didn't answer the second part of that conversation. You just
please, remind me.
I was asking, how long would it take Nigeria to realistically reach true refining independence? Are we talking about 5 years? Are we talking about 10 years or longer? That was the main question.
Yeah, you see, if from my crystal ball, which not many people have crystal ball, but from the reasonable level of knowledge I have, all other things being equal, in the next 3 years, if Dangote Refinery attain 1.4 million barrels a day refining capacity, Nigeria, as it is today, the 700,000, we are going to be net exporter of petroleum products. In 36 months' time, between 24 to 36 months' time, Dangote Refinery alone will be more than sufficient for sub-Saharan Africa. Take this from me, from the statistics and number we know in consumption. And take note, electric vehicles are going to take part of the market. So, so all the people say, oh, they do refinery. We are just looking at, I'm just looking at them. Electric vehicle will take part of the market. So the market will not be 100% hydrocarbon. It will be diminishing gradually over the next 10 years. The market for hydrocarbon will be diminishing because the vehicles will be transiting to electric in most cases. But having said that does not mean that we cannot do away with hydrocarbon because, you know, there are many derivatives from it. So we will be there within the tenure of President Tinubu once he gets his second time. But I want him to double up. I'm not yet impressed with his team. His team to manage the economy still remain very weak. They are not proactive. But I think, where I need to commend him, I will commend him. And this import free, he has to stop it.
All right. And I would also like to know, you know, Mr. Dankule, I would like to know the impact of this global shock on the maritime sector. But let's come back to that in a moment. Currently, there are two issues bordering on corruption in the NNPCL. First, the Nigerian Senate says It has uncovered a whopping sum of 210 trillion naira discrepancy in the audited accounts of the NNPCL covering 2017 to 2023. I'm sure you must have heard from Senator Wadada when he said the panel identified 103 trillion naira in unexplained accrued expenses. There is also the 177 trillion naira in sundry receivables in the company financial statements. 210 trillion naira is an extraordinary figure, larger than several years of Nigeria's national budget. What's your take on this?
Yes, okay. In Nigeria, I always laugh at times when I hear some of these figures. Accounting, petroleum accounting in Nigeria is very opaque. And when you have incompetent people, as you had in the last 10 years, running NNPC, led by Mele Kyari, that is what you get. So they model up the entire accounting system, both the oil and the gas. So what you have now in front of Senator Wadada is a confused documentation that you need forensic experts to dig back for you and give you the exact situation. But in doing this, you cannot allow those people who created the problem to be sleeping in their homes. If you don't take them up and confront them with all these documents, they will never get the true figure. But let me now say something that is more rational. If 10% of 210 or 220 trillion
210 trillion naira.
210 trillion naira. If 10% were to be real, and they can really identify it and validate it, and we can trace the people who mismanage this money, the people who put all this money in properties in Abuja, all over the place, then we can recover that money and liquidize it to fund education, security, health, and roads, and use part of it to de-risk agriculture. So the exercise is good. We must commend Senator Wadada. The exercise is good. The president should support him. The president should collaborate with him and bring forensic experts to get to the root. But when we pretend and we just wave it away, the country is going nowhere. This is my verdict. We should not pretend. We should not pretend. I said it on this same channel a month ago. The level of fraud in NNPC was humongous. So how will we get to the root? We need to call Pricewaterhouse, all the auditors that have been working on that account in the last 12 years. Call them and bring forensic experts and bring all the managers to table to validate each item. The Senate alone cannot do it. The president must support them. So this is the thing. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
But
it's
Mr. Bankole, with your years of experience, is it possible that such a discrepancy could go unnoticed across 6 years of audited financial statements? Is it possible?
Look, what the auditor saw, what was what he audited. What of all the unaccounted records? Do you know how many oil blocks that are on a FTSA, Financial and Technical Service Agreement, between MPDC in Benin and NNPC? Do you know them? Who account for their daily productions, both oil and gas? What figures do they report to the auditors? It is what the figure they report to the auditor works on. Because there is no check and balances. Who was governing them? Who was governing them in the last 10 years? The same president that was Minister of Petroleum for 8 years, President Baba Buhari, is the one who could not resolve OPL 245. He could not resolve it. So you can imagine from just that alone, which they persecuted Mohammed Adoke Bello, my junior brother. He suffered. He almost died. We lost his father during that course. For nothing. So you can imagine the humongous misdeed and miscellaneous that must have taken place under such person. So that is the thing. Again, still see, before President Tinubu removed military, can you imagine what Aliko Dangote went through for almost 1.5 years under President Tinubu?
I mean,
you saw what he went through to get the refinery started.
I mean, I don't think I'm surprised, but I think it's shocking to hear you say this is plausible, because there is another $42.3 billion unaccounted for, aside from the 210 trillion discrepancy currently being investigated by the National Assembly. NNPC says it owes nothing, yet consultants working for the Federation accounts claim there is about $42.3 billion in under-remitted oil revenue. So if you're speaking from a technical oil accounting perspective, how can two parties reviewing the same oil revenue arrive at figures this far apart?
Because the accounting system was opaque. You see, we have joint ventures account. Then you have PSC account, that's production sharing contract account. Then you have sole risk account. Then you have royalties account and fees. So all this, then you have crude sales account. Because when federal government take their oil allocation, they sell. So all these, you need to be an insider. That is why do you think everybody wants to be GMD of NNPC? You are more powerful than the president of Nigeria if you are GMD of NNPC. When NNPC was not yet limited liability company, even now that is a limited liability company, the GMD is still very powerful. The only good thing now is that President Tinubu is an accountant. So he has eye for numbers. So if you want to dribble him, he will ask you. But the accounting system was very opaque. From the wellhead to the flow stations and to the depots, the accounting system is in trouble. No metering, nothing. It is the number they write on the manifest. Somebody sign, another person refused to sign. They will argue for 2-3 days before it is signed. So I think they are internal endemic cancer that we cannot solve on television here. We can only just provide solution and amplify how bad the situation is or how bad the situation was. I hope by Ojulari will be able to cure some of this problem during his own tenure. So I think, Olajumoke, I just want the president to support this audit. Let them bring forensic auditors to open up the past. Let them open up the past.
Just for the purpose
why are they afraid of opening up the past?
Mr. Dankule, just for the purpose of this conversation, I mean, two things you've said here. You've said this is as a result of opaque accounting system. You've also said this points to deeper transparency issues in Nigeria's oil revenue system. But if NNPC insists it owes nothing, what specific calculations or deductions could, justify that position?
The NNPC management of that time can always get the account to be as green as they want it to be. They can as well sow all the desert portions of the account if they want. So the current management can do as much as they can, but we can, if we bring external forensic auditors and say, you, the new management, just don't come near us. We want to do our work. The revelation you will see, madam, the country will open their mouth. I am not saying validating 210 trillion, and I'm not validating 42 billion. But I'm just saying, if you put a searchlight, you will see something that will be very astonishing for the country. And we need that money because there's no money. We need that money.
And another truth, Mr. Dankule, is that the PIA was supposed to improve transparency and governance in the sector, yet was still debating massive reconciliation gaps. But really, has the PIA actually changed anything in practical terms? Has it changed anything?
Yes, PIA is good as it was. Then we need to rapidly amend it. I said it when it became real in August 2021. I said, for the time being, as at that time, I say we have a law to panabit. At least there's something to panabit. It has been signed to law. And I credited President Buhari then. I say, yes, at least you have signed something to law. Now, when we are implementing it, we will see areas we need to rapidly amend. So that law is due for amendment now. Even though the president has gone ahead to issue some executive orders, they are not strong enough, but they are good indications. So if the reasoning of some of us can align with the authority's reasoning, that bill is due for amendment. For one particular reason alone, the scale of refining capacity that Dangote Refinery has brought to the marketplace has distorted and disrupted some of the provisions in those midstream, downstream aspect of the Petroleum Industry Act. So the regulator has to quickly come up with a remedy and say, oh, when we were making this law, all our mindset was on government-owned refinery. Now there is a private refinery that is so big that has come and disrupted the structure of the market. So how do we now panabit this law to capture Dangote's presence? I give you an example. The state of emergency we have in energy in Nigeria today, if you don't allow Dangote to deliver petrol to all the petrol stations directly, which is 4,000 CNG powered trucks, how are you going to allow the merchants to import petroleum products, put it in their depot before they are delivered? Can you see contradiction now? So the man who has a big refinery in Nigeria has truck to take the petrol station directly to your petrol station for you. So he eliminates storage cost for you. So you have to amend the law to give him that free access to the retail end. Because it's not just possible for you to say, take the product by coastal from Dangote Refinery to a depot first, and then from depot to trucking. So you can see the price will go to 2,300 naira or 2,500 naira per liter. So you can see the reason why I say that law now needs to be amended. So but it's good to have a team that look at all these things rapidly, because the situation is not static. I sympathize with Dangote.
And for those who have raised concerns about, Mr. Dankule, please hold on. Because, I mean, since this investigation started, concerns have been raised about billions spent on frontier basin exploration projects funded from oil revenues. And because we're talking about trillions of naira now, could these expenditures be part of the disagreement over remittances?
Oh my God. Sorry, can you repeat the question? Oh my God.
Mr. Nakule, can you hear me? Since this the investigation started,
please,
you know,
please, can you repeat the question? Please, can you repeat the question?
Concerns have been raised about billions spent on frontier basin exploration projects. These projects were funded from oil revenue. So I'm asking, could these expenditures be part of the disagreements we're seeing now over remittances?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because look, when we initiated the inland basin exploration activities from a long time, from Sagari time, long time to President Obasanjo's time, the issue is this, madam. Lake Chad Basin and Benue Trough, they were, oh my God, some people are disrupting this program.
Mr. Dankule, please go ahead. We can hear you. All right.
Were really due for yes. But what happened was that there was a deliberate attempt to mobilize money rapidly to open up some part of the Chad Basin and Benue Trough, Bauchi, Kolomani. Okay. The issue was this: at what cost were those exploration and drilling activity? At what cost were they carried out? We need to see the account. Then the exploration activity, what were the results? We have not seen the result. I queried 3 years ago. I said we want to know the reserve and producibility of Kolomani, because we had a rumor within the system that time that the reserve was about 1 billion barrels. Then we asked, was it a tight oil or was it an easy oil?
All right.
Okay. So nobody answered all these questions. So if we know how much they have invested in the exploration work in Lake Chad, in Bauchi Basin, and in Nasarawa, Lower Benue Trough, near Nasarawa there, then we can know whether they have really gone out of this world. These are the hidden places that they have pumped so much money because there was no governance. It was propaganda, political propaganda. We are going to find oil. We can find oil. Science has helped us to find oil anywhere in the world. So nobody is against you finding oil. What we are saying is that, are you finding the oil rationally? There's oil in Lagos. Lagos is sitting on oil. I say it with authority. So there's oil everywhere. There's oil in Sokoto Basin. But what volume and how much will we spend to find it and to produce it? This is the issue. So we must probe the account. We must, the forensic auditor must check the account of how much has been spent in the frontier basin.
All right.
So it's not, I'm not against looking for oil. We should look for oil everywhere.
All right then. Mr. Dankule, thank you for joining me. The takeaway from this conversation is that from your professional judgment today, Nigeria's oil revenue accounting system is not credible and transparent and must be probed. Thank you so much for speaking with me. Dankule, oil and gas expert, thank you so much for joining me from the United Arab Emirates. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'm at the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke. Good night, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow.